Greetings, my dear brothers and sisters. Welcome again back. I know many people thought that we are done, and I'm sure the Devil's Camp was celebrating to say that no, now we are done with Present Truth presentations. No, my dear brothers and sisters. We are still on, we are still reformers, we are still protesting. The protest has not ended. It's just that God had taken us to do some other stuff, some other very, very important work for Him. It was actually in evangelism. Now, this is just an update to inform you guys that we'll be back. I think by next week we should be airing our next episodes and sermons, and we continue. We have a more critical work to do now. We are by the way, this is Zambezi River. This is Zambezi River. This is Zambezi River. Remember, the closer we are with nature, the closer we are with our God. So nature is very, very important because it reminds us of the Creator. We worship God because He's the Creator of the heavens, the seas, and the land, and every living thing that is on these things. That is the major reason we worship God. Now, we are back, and we are coming back with more present truth, my dear brothers and sisters, because we have current events that are happening which we have to follow according to the prophetic timeline. We know about the war in Israel. By the way, the war in Israel is a very serious war. That war is not just on Hamas in Palestine. That is the whole Muslim society fighting against the Christian society. That is a big war. It's actually Hezbollah in Lebanon that is now going to enter into this battle. And it's not just Hezbollah, because we know Hezbollah gives his allegiance to Iran, and we know Iran will work with Saudi Arabia. The world already has been divided into two groups. The two groups that are in prophecy. The group that has Russia and its allies, and the group that has America, who's fighting the Israel war. So my dear brothers and sisters, this is a third world war. The third world war that we've been talking about. The third world war that is brought in by the antichrist power. The third world war that we know that the papacy is involved in. The papacy is involved in this war. Remember the first world war, the papacy was involved. The second world war, the papacy was involved. When you watch our sermon down there, you go down there, look for a sermon where we did it, I think a year and a half ago. We were talking about the Ukraine-Iraq war, the Ukraine-Russia war. Now, in that sermon, we featured a pastor called, a Catholic father called Chris Allah. He talked for a long time. I featured him. He talked for a long time. He prophesied to say there's a third world war coming, just like we've been preaching. The Catholics have prophesied to say there's a third world war coming, and they are the ones with that thing they call Virgin Mary who are going to solve the whole situation. Virgin Mary, who appeared in the skies. If you remember, in Third World War, the Lady of Fatima appeared in the skies and brought peace and ended the Second World War. According to Father Chris Allah, who's a Marian father, he says that the Third World War will be solved by the same thing they worship called Virgin Mary. That thing is called Virgin Mary. That thing is Lucifer himself, my dear friends. So we are seeing prophecy being fulfilled. Things are there. We are at the door, my friends. This is the time we need to consecrate ourselves. Remember the Day of Atonement, what the children of Israel were doing. Remember, they camped around the sanctuary in prayer and fasting, preparing for the West. This is the level where we are. This is the phase where we are supposed to be stocking up. This is the phase where we are supposed to be, getting acquainted to country living, because it will be country living. You will be hated by all nations for the message's sake, for the message of rebuking the Antichrist, for the message of warning people, telling people the third angel's message of Revelation 14, verse 6 to 12, not to receive the mark of the beast. This is the message that is going to provoke the devil. But we are going to do it because we are preparing a people right now, my dear brothers and sisters, who are going to receive the Holy Spirit, who are going to receive the latter rain, the outpouring of the Holy Spirit. It's not going to just be poured to every SDA member there, 20 million SDAs. It is going to be poured to those who will be found. The Holy Spirit will be given to those who will be found ready and prepared. So we, as Present Truth, are preparing a people who are going to receive the latter rain. A people who are going to receive power. Some of you will be healing. performing miracles, speaking in tongues for the purpose of spreading the loud cry message. So we are back, my dear brothers and sisters. So this is just an update. I decided to just bring an update to say in the next 7 days we'll be back with our normal broadcasting of our sermons. We will continue with present truth. This is time now that we have to get ready, because Jesus is almost starting to seal his own. Don't plan to miss the seal. Plan to receive the seal of the living God, because that is the only shelter. That is the only thing that will prepare you to stand in front of a God without a mediator. Spirit of Prophecy, Ellen G. White, prepares a people who will stand in front of God without a mediator. We should be planning, each of us, to be part of that number. So my dear brothers and sisters, this is a beautiful Sabbath day here, as we are now getting geared for all our programs to continue on Maranatha is our time. Please do not plan to miss any of our sermons. Plan to listen, plan to read Spirit of Prophecy, plan to study the Bible individually. The papacy will be taking us. Individually, we will be answering in the courts of law and defending our faith. How will you do that if you do not know the Spirit of Prophecy? How will you do that if you do not know the Bible? So my dear brothers and sisters, we are coming in to another phase, to another journey, where we are going to break down the demons, where we are going to break down the Masons and the Illuminatis and all those who give their allegiance to the devil, because this is the time now for Jesus and his team to come out victorious. We are coming out victorious this time as we welcome our Master, our King of Kings, in the clouds of heaven. So my dear brothers and sisters, may the Lord bless you. I pray that we move together in this journey. We brave on, we are brave soldiers. We are not cowards, and we are not dumb dogs. Isaiah 56 verse 8 and 9 and 10. We are the watchmen on Zion's walls. We are going to point out without fear to say, this is the antichrist. This is the man of sin. This is the papacy, and he has made his own laws. He has made 10 commandments that are not supposed to be followed. All those, at the end of the world, there will be two groups. The one group on the left hand will follow man-made laws made by the Catholic, which abrogate the Sabbath, the fourth commandment, and our group will maintain the 10 commandments of the living God. So you need to join the group that will be obeying the living God. My dear brothers and sisters, there are a lot of nice things that you're going to miss out if you decide to join the bigger group. The easier path, the path where the devil will deceive many, 99% will be deceived. And yet, Jesus will have his remnant. A few guys who look as if they are useless, who look as if they are not rich, who are impoverished, but that is the group that will abide by the 10 commandments of God. That is the group that we are preparing a people. Remember, there are 3 phases in this thing. As I'm finishing up here, just a minute. There are 3 phases in this thing. The first phase is God, then we come to Jesus, then again we finish with God. Okay? Now, what do we mean? What do I mean when I'm saying that? Many of our bishops talk of our pastors, talk of whatever they call themselves. Even in our remnant church SDA now, it is all about the message of grace. Now, that message of grace is a message that will take a lot of people to the lake of fire. Grace is a free gift. You see, I say there are 3 levels. The first level, my dear brothers and sisters, is, first of all, my dear friends, you have to love the law of God. You have to love the commandments of the living God. That is the first step. Now, loving the commandments of God does not mean that you are going to obey all the 10 commandments. You are going to realize now, as you are going into the second phase, that on your own power, you cannot obey all the 10 commandments. That is where now grace comes in. You see, the second phase, Jesus is the one who gives you the grace. You are going to realize that with your own effort, you cannot keep the 10 commandments. You are going to realize that you need Jesus. That's the second phase, to give you his free. Grace is a free gift to all. So Jesus will help you. You lift up your little hand and realize you can't obey all the 10 commandments. You are struggling with commandment number 7 of adultery. You are struggling with commandment number 4 of breaking the holy day of God, the Sabbath. You lift your little hand, and Jesus, with that grace that everybody preaches about, drops his little hand and lifts you up. And he makes you overcome the temptations. Jesus helps you obey the 10 commandments, and now you are in the third phase of obeying the 10 commandments of God. Now, the 10 commandments of God in the third phase, my dear friends, is a righteous life. present truth teaches us that it's very possible for us to live a righteous life through those three phases. Now, when you reach the sanctification phase, you will be living and walking with God. You will be obeying His 10 commandments. And Jesus, who moved into the most holy place in 1844, Jesus, who is in the most holy place with God, has the 10 commandments with Him. And He has made you be able to observe those 10 commandments. The basic message of present truth, my dear brothers and sisters, is about Jesus preparing a people who will be ready to stand direct with God when He's done with His work in the most holy place. So Jesus cannot leave the most holy place without preparing a little company of me and you who are going to stand directly with God without Jesus as the intercessor. So we are going to be sinless. Jesus will make us sinless, and Jesus will give us His seal. When we are sealed, then we finish the work. We are going to blow the loud cry to all the corners of this earth. When we finish that work, we will see our Master returning in the skies. My dear friends, join me in the next episodes as we come back again to present truth. Thank you very much.